Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy International Women's Day today. Going live at the moment to talk about what I always talk about. So if you are watching live, put live in the comments. If you're watching the replay, put replay in the comments. I'm talking about how to listen to your body's divine wisdom. Your body is divinely designed. I talk about this a lot, how our bodies, or every living being on the earth, was divine or designed to be fertile, to reproduce in a cyclical nature. All the plants are fertile and they reproduce in a cyclical nature. There's a cycle of seed, sprout, growth, bloom, reproduce, death. That seed, another seed from that plant sprouts, grows, full blooms to reproduce seeds that sprout, grow, reproduce, and die. There's a cycle. The trees or the plants, the fruits, the birds, the squirrels, all the animals were all designed to continue on, cycle through. A continuation of life has been happening on Earth for millions of years. And us humans were designed to be fertile also. The difference between humans and all the other living beings on the planet is that we have free will. We do get to choose to reproduce or not. And even if you don't choose to reproduce, it is still, you are still designed to be fertile. And your fertility is an indication of your health. And we were designed to be fertile. When our fertility is compromised, that is an indication that our overall health is compromised. So when I say listen to your body's divine wisdom, your body has a language. It is always speaking to you. And it will speak to you through sensations and symptoms and signs. I'm trying to see how, okay, here we go. Okay, that's how I write a comment. Okay. And so, talking about how the body speaks to us through sensations and symptoms and signs. And so the body is a messenger. I believe that our body is how God talks to us. A lot of women, they believe in intuition and believe that that is how God speaks to us. Many people say they heard a voice that no one else can hear, and they know it's God speaking to them. And just how you believe that God speaks to you and you hear it in your mind, well, I believe that God speaks to you also through your body. It's how we were designed. Your body is a temple. God dwells in temples not made by man's hands. So your body, God is inside of you, speaking to you. And your body is the messenger. So if you are experiencing symptoms that are uncomfortable, symptoms of dis-ease, symptoms of disorder, symptoms of dysfunction. Hi, Dorinda. That is your body getting your attention. And it is your responsibility as the owner of your body to learn how to use your body. Just as if you go and buy a car, it is your responsibility to learn how to use the functions of that car. You want to know how all of the features work so that you can use that car to its fullest capacity. When you buy a new phone, you are learning how it works. You're setting it up. You want to understand all of its features and functions so that you can use it to its fullest capacity. And it's the same thing with the body. It's your responsibility to learn how to work with your body so that you can use it for that potential 100+ years that, that you can get out of a body. It's possible to get 100+ years from your body if you learn how to work with it, if you learn how to live in it. Working against it is how you experience premature death. Dying in your 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s from dis-ease, disorder, dysfunction is a result of working against your body. So what I do is, as a certified holistic reproductive health practitioner and certified fertility awareness educator, I teach women how to understand their bodies. It's called body literacy. Understanding the body's language, being able to read your body and understand what it is telling you through those signs, symptoms, and sensations. And the core function of every living being is the reproductive system, right? Because we are designed to reproduce. Hi, Carisha. Thanks for joining. I'm talking about how to listen to your body's divine wisdom, how to understand the body's language. So thank you for joining. I hope you can stay. I'll be on here for a minute because I'm just going on. But talking about how the body's or every living being's core function is their reproductive system, their ability to reproduce, be fertile is how we were designed by our Creator to reproduce. Whether we choose to or not, and we do have that free will to choose not to reproduce, but still our core function is our reproductive system. So whenever we are working against our body, whenever there is a disconnect, and your body is, when you're working against your body, you're out of alignment with the way you were designed to, the way it was designed to function. And so your body will try to get your attention through those signs and symptoms and sensations. And a lot of women experience menstrual cycle difficulties, whether that is PMS, severe PMS, pain during their periods, heavy cramping, heavy bleeding, other disorders and diseases. A lot of women experience PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis. I could go on and on of what women experience in their menstrual cycles. And that is the body speaking to you. And at first it will whisper to you. It will whisper and it'll get louder when you continue to ignore it. It will get louder. And when you continue to silence it and ignore it and work against it, it will start screaming at you through those severe symptoms, those sensations. That's unbearable. It will disrupt your life because it is trying to get your attention. And a lot of women do not understand. I was on Threads just yesterday. I took a whole bunch of screenshots of everybody, of the whole thread, because there was the thread started with one woman. She was like, why do we have to have a whole period that lasts, 7 days? Like, where all our body is just telling us is that you're not pregnant. Like, I'd rather just get a email to say, hey, you're not pregnant. Like, and it was cute. It was funny the way she said it, but so many people, replied to that thread about like what they experience, like how horrible their periods are, and why does it have to be like this? And a lot of the, perspectives was that like they felt like this is because they are a woman. They're experiencing this because they are a woman. Like this is just the way it has to be. It has been normalized because it's so common. But painful periods, disruptive periods are not normal. They are common, but they are not normal. You do not have to experience a painful period or menstrual cycle. And if you are experiencing that, no matter how long it's been, it is still possible for that to be reversed, because your body was also designed to heal itself. You can heal from anything. Like, I don't think a lot of people know that the liver can regenerate itself. So like, let's say you had surgery on your liver and they had to cut a portion of your liver off. Your liver will regenerate itself. Your body can heal if you get out of its way, if you stop working against it. I was on live earlier this week and one woman commented that she was thinking about getting a hysterectomy because she had cysts. I don't know if they were on her ovaries or wherever they were, but she mentioned that she had cysts and she was thinking about getting a hysterectomy. And I asked her, why was she resorting to getting her reproductive organs cut out for cysts? And asked her, what has she tried? And she said that she tried teas and supplements. A lot of women feel like you can just start taking something and that's going to solve the issue, when the issue was created by the way we are living against our bodies. I make this point all the time, is that the system that we are living in, the system that we are working in, is designed for men. Whenever medications are researched, they are researched on men's bodies, how they will react in men's bodies, and then they'll put it out onto the market. And when issues start occurring with that medication, it's usually with the woman, and so they have to take it back off the market. Like everything, diets, even like diet and nutrition standards are based off of the male body. When we live in this world or this system that is designed for men, we're living as men. We're working as men. We're eating as men. We're drinking as men. We have thoughts as men, right? And that's normalized. It's like a lot of people are living in survival mode. They have to. Like, they just have to. But that can't ignore the fact that we're still working against our female physiology. And all of those daily, in every moment, habits and actions that we take is creating the issues, the imbalances. We're misaligned with our female physiology. That is what's creating the symptoms that we experience. And so whatever symptoms you're experiencing, whatever dis-ease, whatever disorder, whatever discomfort, whatever dysfunction will not go away until you make changes and reverse or just come into alignment with your female physiology. Dorinda asks, is it true that liver health contributes to the flow and intensity of your actual menstrual cycle? Yes, it is true, because the liver is the body's detox mechanism, right? The liver metabolizes our hormones. All menstrual issues, cycle irregularities, difficulties, at the root of it is a hormonal imbalance. And if the liver is not metabolizing the hormones because the liver is not functioning as optimally as it's supposed to, then there's going to be a hormonal imbalance. So the liver directly affects our menstrual flow. Right. A lot of women do not know that because we are not educated about our bodies. We are not, and then when we are, we're miseducated about our bodies. I got a nice blog post coming up. My first blog post gonna be on my website coming up about the miseducation and what it leads to, the lack of education and what it leads to. So because we are miseducated, because we are undereducated about our bodies, we don't know how our bodies are supposed to work. Like, a lot of women are not aware of what a menstrual cycle, a healthy, normal menstrual cycle should look like. Like I said, on that thread that I was following, so many women did not understand why they were experiencing it, but they also felt like this was normal, like this is supposed to happen, and they don't know, why does this have to happen to me? Hey, Coach Jay, thank you. I'm going on, boo. And so that's what I do as a certified holistic reproductive health practitioner, is to teach women how to understand their bodies. And I was talking about women not understanding what a normal healthy menstrual cycle is supposed to look like. A lot of women don't even know that, I can have a period that is not painful, that is not heavy, that doesn't last 7 days. Like, yeah, your period is supposed to be short. Like, one woman they were talking about, why can't it just be like 30 minutes? Like, you sit on the toilet and it just all come out at the same time. Like, and no, a period shouldn't be 30 days. A healthy period shouldn't be 1 day. It's going to take a few days, but it should only be a few days, like 3, 4. The standard medical industry tells us that, an average is 5 days. But that's it. A menstrual cycle should not be longer than that. And so what I do is teach women what a healthy menstrual cycle looks like. And then when I say a menstrual cycle, I'm talking about the entire cycle, from the first day of blood flow to the last day or the next day up until or the last day before the next blood flow starts again. So A textbook cycle would be 28 days. So when I ask women, how long is your cycle? I'm getting back responses of about 7 days. Like, that's your menstrual phase, not your menstrual cycle. Hey, Elsa. I'm not understanding that question. Any appointment you suggest? Are you asking if I suggest any kinds of treatments? What I am on here talking about is the practice of fertility awareness and menstrual cycle awareness. And I'm getting to that on how those practices help with understanding your body and how to identify the root cause of whatever symptoms, sensations that you may be experiencing, any supplements. I honestly do not, I recommend supplements, but I don't recommend supplements before understanding what your diet looks like, what your lifestyle looks like, and making changes in that first. So stopping, eliminating, reducing anything in your diet, your lifestyle, stress management, nervous system regulation that will get your body back to homeostasis, because the issue is there is a imbalance, and that imbalance is created mainly through diet, mainly through your lifestyle, mainly through nervous system regulation or nervous system dysregulation that's causing the imbalance. So before I even recommend supplements, I don't even talk about supplements. Well, in my program, I do. In my 12-week flow state, the flow state program, I talk about it, I teach about it, and I recommend them, but only when I understand what your issues are, what your diet looks like, what your lifestyle looks like. And that the flow state program is a 12-week program. So like, I get to know you first before I am recommending supplements. I like to do personalized guidance when it comes to supplements, even when it comes to diet, when it comes to lifestyle, because there is no one pill fix all. There is no one supplement fix all. Every woman's body is different. We may all be experiencing similar symptoms and sensations, but our bodies respond to the imbalances in different ways. So I more so teach you how to live in alignment with your female physiology to restore the hormonal balance. And so through the practice of fertility awareness, menstrual cycle awareness, I teach you how to understand your body, how to track your cycles. I was talking about how women will tell me that their cycles are 5 days. They're talking about their menstrual phase. And there is actually 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. There is a menstrual phase, there is a follicular phase, there is an ovulatory phase, there is a luteal phase, which all spans throughout 28, 29 days. Average 28, 29 days. And in that phase, or in those 4 phases, our bodies cycle through. There's several different hormones that are responsible or influence the reproductive cycle, the menstrual cycle. But the main 2 hormones that all women need to know is estrogen and progesterone. A lot of women don't even know that. But throughout those 4 phases, there is a dance, really, of the estrogen and progesterones that have normal parameters. Throughout those phases, our bodies require different foods, different levels of productivity, different levels of exercise. Our bodies as females, our bodies have 24 or 28 day clock. Our female physiology flows on an infradian rhythm. So infradian rhythm is a cycle that's shorter than a year, but longer than a day. So just like the moon cycles throughout 29 and a half days, our bodies are very closely aligned with the moon cycles. And there are phases of the moon cycles that have different energies, that have different moods. And that is the same with our bodies. As females, our bodies flow on an infradian rhythm. We are totally different people. When you're on your period, you have totally different mental and emotional, in a totally different mental and emotional space than you are when you are ovulating in your ovulatory phase. Totally different person that requires totally different things, different foods, different levels of exercise, different levels of productivity. And when I say that we live in a society that is geared towards men, that is women feeling like they have to be the same person every single day. They have to have the same level of productivity every single day. Women trying to, let's say, like when I used to run a lot, and I always was preparing for some kind of marathon. And this was before I learned about fertility awareness. This was before I had my first child, my son, who is now 11. I didn't learn about fertility awareness till right after I had him. But right before I had him, I was preparing for a half marathon. And I ran a half marathon 1 month before getting pregnant with him. And of course, like, a half marathon is 13 miles. And so I took I think it was about 8 months that I prepared for that marathon. But every single day I was running because I had to condition my body to be able to run for 13 miles. I would work at the salon all day, and I would get off of work and I would go run for miles. I mean, 6 or more miles, just to keep my body conditioned every single day. On the weekends when I didn't work at the salon, I was running for miles. And even though I was on birth control then, but it doesn't even matter. Like, days where I was on my period, I was running because I didn't want to take any days off because it made it harder for me to get back to that level of stamina. But there are women who are pushing themselves when they don't feel like it, especially in their menstrual phase, approaching their menstrual phase, and in their menstrual phase, being the gym girlies, being the runners, whatever, at work, the productivity that they have to keep up at work, pushing themselves, even though they don't feel like it. They don't feel like it physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because they don't understand. They have to keep up with this world that is designed for men. Men or males have a 24-hour clock. Their hormones cycle over 24 hours. And they can be the same every single day. They can eat the same thing every single day, and they're fine. But women, we have to live in alignment with our female physiology. So during those 4 phases of the cycle, like during the menstrual phase, our hormones are at its lowest. They're at its lowest. Estrogen and progesterone is at its lowest. And so our energy is going to be at its lowest. Our emotions are going to be at its lowest. We're probably going to be a little bit more. If you're cycling healthy, like a healthy cycle, you should not be depressed. But you are going to feel just like your moods are going to be more reserved. You're going to be wanting to rest. When you're coming out of your menstrual phase, one of the hormones is building up, right? Like it's building up towards its peak. So our moods and our energies are going to change. What we are supposed to eat is going to need to change to support those hormones. When you are in your ovulatory phase, your estrogen, that one hormone, your estrogen, is at its peak. Your moods and your energies are going to be at its peak. The foods that you need to eat, or the foods that you should be eating during that phase to support that peak level of estrogen, is different than the foods you needed in your menstrual phase. It's different than the foods you needed in your follicular phase. And then once you ovulate, there's another hormone that is introduced. So estrogen will drop a little bit, and then progesterone is coming to take over. And progesterone has totally different effects on your body that require totally different foods, totally different level of productivity, totally different kinds of exercise. And there's going to be totally different moods and energies in that phase also. And when we are trying to be the same person every day, we are working against our female physiology. Misalignment where the hormonal imbalance stems from. The hormonal imbalance is the root cause of whatever symptoms you are experiencing. And the only way to heal from those symptoms is to understand your body and to live in alignment with them. There is no supplement that is going to do all the work for you. Just like when you are a person that works out, if you have a crappy diet, your body is never going to look the way you want it to look because you're working against your efforts in the gym by eating the wrong foods, right? You can work harder, and you may stay at a certain weight, but you may still have fat where you don't want it because you're working against your body with that crappy diet. Your body is not going to change in the way that you want to if your diet is not in alignment with your workouts, your exercise. And so just how your personal trainer will teach you how to eat a clean, lean diet that will support your workouts to get your body to look the way you want it to look. I am a personal body literacy coach that teaches you how to understand your menstrual cycles so that you can work in alignment with your female physiology. Elsa is saying, if this was a man's problem, the solutions would have been found long ago. I'm glad you and other brave women are discussing it in detail to help women. Yes, because this came for me. I honestly never experienced too many cycle difficulties in my life. I know that as a teenager, I started my periods very late, like at the end of what's considered normal and healthy at 15. So like the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommend that if you're not starting your periods by 16, then you may want to get checked out because that is a hormonal imbalance. I started my periods at 15. Now that I know, and I think I was 14. I was 14 because I was in 9th grade. I entered ninth grade at 13 years old, but I finished ninth grade at 14. But I was about 14 when I came on my period, which was late compared to, it's not late. Actually, like, that's okay. Like, it's okay to start at 14. But it's a late compared to my cousins and my friends. They were starting, I have one cousin started at 7 years old. Oh, my other cousin started at 9 years old, which back then that was considered very early. But it has been normalized. 7 is still very young. Like, that's very young. But due to the foods that we're eating, due to the stress that even 7-year-olds are under, hormonal imbalances cause the effect of early menstrual periods. It's called menarche. That first menstrual period is menarche, but it's all cause and effect. The root of it is the hormonal imbalance, and I teach women how to understand what is going on in their lives, what is going on in their cycles, to understand where the imbalance is coming from, because everybody's imbalance is stemming from similar causes, but everybody's body responds differently. So what needs to happen is you need to understand like what your body is, or what your cycle is actually, like how it is unfolding throughout an entire cycle, what every phase looks like for you. Understanding the normal parameters, and then what your unique cycle looks like, comparing it to what's normal, and then learning how to get your body or restore that balance and get it back into alignment with how your body is designed to function. So I teach you how to work with your natural cycles for long-term hormonal health, and how to master your fertility. Because if you're on birth control, hormonal birth control, then you're actually shutting off your cycles. You're shutting off your reproductive system and function, which is also, women aren't doing that because, they just don't want to deal with the periods at all. It's too painful. It's too disruptive. It's too unpredictable. It's uncontrollable. They don't understand it. So they just want to shut it off. And that's what the hormonal birth control does. It just shuts your cycles down altogether. So you are shutting off your fertility, which, again, you were designed to be fertile. It is the core function of your physiology. And when your fertility is compromised, so is your overall health. That's what a lot of women do not understand. And that's why it's so normal to choose hormonal birth control to avoid or shut off their fertility. But a lot of women are making that decision uninformed. I need to plug up my phone because it's gonna die. So it's a very uninformed decision to shut off your fertility, instead of, if you actually knew how your body worked. That's not gonna work. If you knew how your body worked, you would know or understand that you're not fertile every single day of your cycle. That's another lack of education and miseducation that we have been dealt in this society that is designed by and for men. You're not fertile every single day of your cycle. That's not gonna work. So what I need to do, that's not gonna fit over here. I'm gonna just keep going. What I can do is do this. This is cool. salon, y'all. Move this over. This is a cute view too. So I was talking about like women choose to use hormonal birth control to control fertility. Not understanding how your overall health is impacted when you shut off your fertility using hormonal birth control. The hormones that are involved in the reproductive cycle, mainly estrogen and progesterone, but all of the hormones that are involved in the reproductive cycle, there's several of them, have overall health benefits. In my masterclass that I'm having on next Thursday, the 13th, it's a midday masterclass. We're going to meet on Zoom. I'm doing it at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying a midday. The last one I did was like at 7 p.m. Because I figured people would be home by then. They can just kind of watch it as they are doing whatever you do after work. And I had several women show up, which is good. So I'm trying the midday to see how that works. You can join on your lunch hour or whatever. But I teach about like the benefits of estrogen and progesterone. And I'm talking about the natural estrogen and progesterone that your body produces, not the synthetic estrins and progestins that are contained in the hormonal birth controls. Hey Kyla, thanks for joining. I've been on for a minute. I'm talking about fertility awareness, menstrual cycle awareness, and teaching women why it is important to understand your body's language through the sensations and symptoms that women experience, how it is your body speaking to you, getting your attention, trying to let you know that you are living out of alignment with it, the way it was designed to function. But in the masterclass, I talk about like the benefits of estrogen and progesterone and how they have long-term health benefits. So the estrogen and progesterone have like bone health benefits. They have thyroid health benefits, heart health benefits, brain and mood and mental health benefits. And when those hormones are suppressed, then imagine those other benefits are no longer. So you can open up an insert from hormonal birth control packet and read all of the what is it called, like side effects or indications that result from that. Stroke is one of them. A lot of women are experiencing strokes that comes from those hormones being suppressed. Osteoporosis is one of those side effects of synthetic hormones, because estrogen and progesterone have the benefits of building up our bones, regulating our moods. Estrogen and progesterone is influenced by our thyroid health. So when you are suppressing those issues, like a lot of women experience hypothyroidism when they are on hormonal birth control for too long. Everybody's body is different. You may be on hormonal birth control for 3 years and start experiencing thyroid issues. Some women don't experience hypothyroidism until 10 years after being on hormonal birth control. And so again, everybody's body is different. So that's why I teach you how to understand your individual body. But so many diseases, disorders, dysfunctions are a result of an imbalance of estrogen and progesterone. There is either too much estrogen, not enough estrogen, not enough progesterone. And those are the causes of PMS, heavy periods, painful periods, PCOS, fibroids, migraines, like on and on and on. On and on and on. Like Kyla said, I have horrible hot flashes all day, every day. I'm sure it's my hormones. It definitely is your hormones. Your hormones influence every process of the body. And Kyla, I don't think you're about maybe 4 years older than me. And so you definitely should not be experiencing menopausal symptoms, right? That's a hormonal imbalance. And that's a hormonal imbalance that has been present for years. And like I was telling someone before, that she was asking, what kind of supplements do you recommend? Like, a supplement will help a little bit, but it's not going to reverse the issue. You have to understand how to work with your body. Stop working against it. When you stop working against it, that's how you restore the balance. So I am trained in the Justice method of fertility awareness. First of all, I'm going to explain what fertility awareness method is, because a lot of people don't even understand that in the Black community. That's one thing I want to talk about. Yep. Full-blown menopause. So if you say that you're full-blown menopause, does that mean that you haven't had a period in over 12 months? Because that's what menopause means. Menopause means a pause of your menstrual cycles. And it has to be 12 months since you experience a menstrual cycle. So you may be experiencing menopausal symptoms, irregular cycles. Usually they're shorter and irregular. Over 2 years, Kyla? Wow. Okay. Well, again, I'm not the person that I cannot recommend anything without knowing a person's full, and I know you didn't ask for that. I'm just saying, like, I can't go into like if that can be reversed or not, because because I don't know anything about your health history or current life. But I was talking about like the fertility awareness method in the Black community. When I mentioned fertility awareness method, a lot of women like don't understand what I'm saying. So there's like these it's called like phases of conscious competence, and there's stages of them. And the first stage is unconscious incompetence, so unaware of the skill and lacking proficiency. So many women are unaware of what fertility awareness is. And I would say with white women, there are more white women in other cultures that are competent, or they know about what fertility awareness method is, and they're more open to using it because it is normalized in their communities. But with Black women in the Black community, it is unheard of for the most part. Unheard of. In America, period. For the most part, it is unheard of. And I've told this story plenty of times of how I learned about fertility awareness method. And it's actually what I was looking for at least a year before I ended up unintentionally pregnant with my first child, my son, because I wanted to go off of hormonal birth control. I didn't have horrible periods. I had very short periods, which they should not have been that short. Now that I know what a healthy cycle looks like, periods should not be coming every 21 days. My period was coming every 21 days. And I went on birth control to regulate my period, which birth control does not regulate your period. It shuts down your menstrual cycle. But I had issues with birth controls, all of them, all of the pills that I took. I had the double shot one time, all my hair came out, and I was on my period for 30 days. On every pill that I had, I never even had a period at all. Even during that 1 week of like placebo effect where you're supposed to have your period, I didn't have a period. And I more so had like mental, emotional side effects with hormonal birth control. Like I just didn't feel like myself with the birth control. Like I knew that I was different. And so I was searching for like, what is a natural way to avoid pregnancy? And I couldn't find anything, not on the internet, and ended up pregnant with my son because I was supposed to be getting an IUD. I was supposed to be getting the Paragard because it didn't have any hormones. And I'm glad I never got the Paragard because now I know about that too. But I got pregnant immediately coming off of the pill. And I didn't learn about I didn't learn about Fertility Awareness Method until I had just had my son and I was in a breastfeeding support group because I was determined to breastfeed my son. And they were very helpful, very informational. And one of those meetings, they introduced me to the Fertility Awareness Method because they were educating on avoiding hormonal birth control so that you can keep your milk supply up. And my next question was like, okay, so if y'all not on hormonal birth control, then what are y'all doing to make sure that you avoid pregnancy? And they pointed me to two books. It's many of them out there, but those two books I read, and I was like, this is what I've been looking for. I didn't know I was looking for the Fertility Awareness Method, but this is what I've been looking for, because whatever I found on the internet was like, that's not real. That ain't gonna work. Nah, I'm not trusting that. But when I read that book, like that first book was like, I learned so much about my body. Like I didn't even know about those 4 phases. I didn't even know that you're not fertile every single day, because why am I taking a pill every single day if I'm not fertile every single day? I didn't even know that my body gives off signs to indicate or let me know that I am fertile. Move this. Like I didn't even know that I could identify fertility by paying attention to my body and, you know, avoiding, however you avoid semen from getting into the egg. Like I didn't even know about any of that. Nobody ever said anything. Why didn't anybody ever tell me this? Why didn't they teach us this in school? Why doesn't my mother know this to teach me this? Like, right? I was kind of mad. And then the ways with Fertility Awareness Method, yes, it is a way to identify your fertility and avoid pregnancy naturally or achieve pregnancy naturally. But also when you are cycle tracking, you're able to see the 4 phases of your cycle on that chart, and you're able to identify whether they are within the normal parameters. And if they are not, you're able to identify those hormonal imbalances. And then the book didn't teach, I don't remember if it taught like a holistic approach to restoring balance. I know that I learned how to use fertility awareness from that book. And so I was mad about it. Like, I'm talking to Black women and I'm like, have you ever heard of this? And they're like, no, never heard of it. And also they don't trust it. Like, no, that's not real. But like this whole group of white women knew. And also I was in a Catholic church at that breastfeeding support group, and I mean, I wasn't there for any religious reasons. I was there for breastfeeding support. It wasn't even like religious talk or anything in that group. That's just where they held their meetings, in a community room at that church. But learning that the Catholic Church teaches their married and engaged couples natural family planning. So Fertility Awareness Method comes from, hey Tiffany, I'm glad you were able to catch too. I've been on for I've been on for an hour now. But it's okay. I'm gonna be on. You can come in and out. Hope you stay. I'm gonna be posting this to my YouTube later too. But talking about like how the Catholic Church teach it to their married and engaged couples. And so because it's against their religion to use hormonal birth control, it's against their religion to use barrier methods like condoms. It's against their religion to pull out during intercourse, like there's no withdrawal when, like, it's against their religion. I mean, some people do, some people don't, but it's against their religion. So they use what's called natural family planning. So natural family planning is a science-backed method to identifying the fertile phases and then abstinence during the fertile time. That is the religious practice. They just use abstinence during that fertile time. Because they can't use barrier methods, they can't do pull out. It's against their religion. That's probably like the orthodox like real serious method of using the natural family planning. But Fertility Awareness Method was based off of natural family planning. So Fertility Awareness Method is more of a secular method of natural family planning. So you get more freedom with how you use the method. With fertility awareness based methods, and there are several fertility awareness based methods, just like there are several types of hormonal birth control pills, different brands, different types of implants or IUDs. You could have one in your uterus, you could have one in your arm. Like, there are different methods of fertility awareness, and they all use different signs, or they'll all like track. It's only 3 different signs. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it's only 3. There are 3 main signs that you can track to identify your fertility. And then there are other things like hormone test, hormone tests and other things that you can track, but mostly they use like 3 different signs. And some of the fertility awareness based methods will use only one of the signs. Some of them use 2 of them. Some of them use 3. So I teach the Justice method of fertility awareness, and fertility awareness method is based off of natural family planning. But fertility awareness method allows you to use the barrier methods in conjunction with the fertility awareness method. So when you are in your fertile phase, instead of having to just choose abstinence in that phase, because again, you're only fertile for 1 week, like less than 1 week, 6 days of a cycle. You're not fertile the entire 4 phases. There's only 1 phase when you are fertile. And so there's no need to take a pill every single day, a pill that is harming your health every single day, when you're only fertile for 1 week. And the goal is to learn how to identify that week. And you can use other methods like barrier methods like condoms. So the fertility awareness method is highly effective, just as effective as the pill, with perfect use, right? There are rules to the fertility awareness method when you're using it to avoid pregnancy. There are some rules that you have to learn and follow for it to be effective. But when you choose to use a barrier method during your fertile phase, you'll get the effectiveness rate of effectiveness rates of condoms. If you choose to use the withdrawal method during your fertile phase, you're going to get the effectiveness rate of withdrawal, which are very lower. There's a lower effectiveness rate. The highest effectiveness rate with the fertility awareness method is abstinence during the fertile phase. So you, in my program, there's a module, one of the weeks we go through how to use the fertility awareness method to avoid pregnancy and also to achieve pregnancy in that same week. But teaching different ways of intimacy that avoids genital to genital contact, to avoid pregnancy, if that's your goal, to avoid pregnancy. One of my goals with this program is, as it continues to grow, is to have a sex educator or therapist on for that week to teach different ways to be intimate and sexual with your partner so that you are still being satisfied through that week. Because also in the fertile phase, you are at your most, in that ovulatory phase, our energy is at its highest. Our sexual energy is at its highest. You're going to be if your cycles are flowing naturally, you're going to be extra horny during your ovulatory phase. That's how our bodies are designed to work, because we are fertile beings. We are meant to reproduce. And so our bodies are going to try. That's what our bodies are doing every single month, every single cycle, trying to reproduce. It is preparing to reproduce. And naturally, you're going to be more sexual and horny during that phase. And so with fertility awareness method, where it becomes ineffective is people don't know how to control themselves during that fertile phase. And that's where you get those unintended pregnancies. But teaching women how to still enjoy their partners without risking pregnancy. So that's my goal, is to have a sex therapist or educator on for that week. But still, without that, I teach women how to avoid pregnancy and ways that you avoid pregnancy during that phase. And so, let's see. So fertility awareness method, I was talking about what it is. I talked about there being different signs of that all the fertility awareness based methods track. They're called biomarkers, actually, biological markers that your body gives off every single day throughout your cycle that will allow you to, once you track it on a chart and you learn how to read that chart, reading that chart is synonymous with reading your body, because you're tracking your signs. That's what body literacy is. Learning your body's language. I can't say this enough. Your body's language is through signs, sensations, and symptoms. Your body doesn't have words. It talks to you through signs, symptoms, and sensations. And being able to read those or pay attention to those signs, observing them, tracking them down with the Justice method. And all fertility awareness based methods have a standardized system for tracking those signs, for recording those signs. And then once you track or record them down on your chart, you're able to decode those standardized notations and essentially reading your body like a book. I have a charting journal that is 3 years worth of charts. And I can flip back to 3 years and look how my cycles have played out. Every single cycle. I have, 36 cycles in that charting journal. And I'm able to look back and see how my cycles have evolved over time and how they've changed and what caused the change. So in times of where I was eating terribly, or in times of where I was super stressed because I started a new business, because that's what I'll do, start a new business, and I'll be working. In those times where I was working out, like I go through phases of I'm back running again, and then I'm not working out at all. I'm able to see how my lifestyle, how my diet, how my nervous system regulation has affected my cycles, and in real time every single day. Like, one of the signs that you track with the Fertility Awareness Method is your basal body temperature. So basal body temperature is the base temperature of your body at its resting state. It is a measure of your metabolism. It is a measure of your thyroid function. And there are normal parameters for your basal body temperature. And things that affect your metabolism, your thyroid function, your base temperature, your basal body temperature, is alcohol. When you drink alcohol, you will see. So like last night, me and my husband went out and I had a few drinks. And when you learn how to use Fertility Awareness Method in the basal body temperature, you learn that in the pre-ovulatory phase of the cycle, those temperatures are in a lower range. And after you ovulate, naturally your metabolism is higher, so your body temperature is higher, and there's a higher range of temperatures. Well, I'm in my pre-ovulatory phase right now. I think I'm on day 9 of my cycle. And my temperatures are supposed to be within that 97.4 and 97.8 range. Well, this morning, my temperatures was at 98.2, a higher range than it is supposed to be. But I understand that it's because I was drinking last night. Alcohol affects your menstrual cycle. Alcohol affects your thyroid function. And able to read that on the chart. And then so I was thinking about that today, because I'm definitely going to do some content on showing women how alcohol affects the menstrual cycle. But think about if I drank every single day, because I used to be that girl that drank every single day. I was at the club every night of the week. I had a club for every night, okay? And I was drinking every single day, every single night. And knowing how thyroid health or your thyroid function is reflected in those basal body temperatures, being able to see how my temperature was outside of the range, the normal range for the pre-ovulatory phase. What if I did that every single day? And essentially, when that basal body temperature is higher than it's supposed to be, that is your thyroid working overtime. That's a symptom of hyperthyroidism. Think about if I did that every single day and put that stress on, first, my liver. We all know how alcohol affects our liver. But think about if I did that, put that stress on my thyroid, how I was putting that stress on my thyroid every single day. And now my temperatures are high every single day, and my thyroid is working overtime. How do you feel when you work overtime every single day? Eventually, you're going to get burned out. And then there's going to be dis-ease, disorder, dysfunction. It's unsustainable. I have clients that work at the plant and they we working overtime. I'm doing 12 sevens or 12 sixes. And after or 6 12s, however they say it. And after that period of overtime, they are spent, right? So are your organs. We have to come into awareness of how our daily habits and actions and behaviors affect our organs, our systems, our bodies, our menstrual cycles. A supplement ain't gonna fix it. A supplement not gonna fix that issue. You have to change your daily habits, actions, behaviors, even your thoughts have to change. The way you think about your body, the way you talk about your body also has influence over how your body functions. And so I was talking about like the signs that are tracked with fertility awareness based methods. So they're called biomarkers, biological markers. Your menstrual, so some of the fertility awareness method based methods, they track like your menstrual dates, your basal body temperature, what I just talked about, cervical mucus, and your cervical position and texture, and then some of them track urinary hormone metabolites to identify that fertile window. And when you're able to identify that fertile window, you are able to avoid pregnancy during when you can identify that fertile window, or you can achieve pregnancy. A lot of women think that they're infertile, but really they're not having sex at the right time. They're missing ovulation because, again, it's just 1 week of being able to conceive, and ovulation only happens on 1 day of the cycle, and that egg only lives for 24 hours when ovulation occurs. So some women are just missing it. Like a good majority of women are just missing that phase. But then some women have that hormonal imbalance where the cervical mucus is not present. If you're not getting those optimum levels of estrogen, you're not producing that cervical mucus, you're not ovulating, or even if you are ovulating, you just don't have enough cervical mucus, you're not going to get pregnant. And so being able to identify if you are ovulating, when you are ovulating, is very important to understand your health. Because again, I speak about that in my masterclass. Again, I'm having a free live masterclass. There is a link to pre-register to join. All the links are all in my bio, so if you are interested, you can go look for those. But I talk about like how regular ovulation, if you are not ovulating, that is an indication that your overall health is compromised. Nature will down-regulate your reproductive capacity if it decides that you are not a good reproductive unit. When you are under stress, nature will decide that it is not a good time for you to reproduce. It's a defense mechanism. It's a protection that is divine design. Listen to your body's wisdom. Your body is the messenger. When you are malnourished, undernourished, your nature will decide that you are not a good reproductive unit. The energy it takes to grow a human being in your body requires nutrient-dense foods. If you are always cleansing, always fasting, always detoxing, how are you building up your body? Nature will decide that there is not enough, this human being is not in, like, you don't have the capacity to try to build up grow another human in your body, because you're not growing your own body. You're detoxing your body. You're cleansing your body. And this is not to say that detoxes are bad and fasting is bad. There is a way, a healthy way to fast for women. Our fasting looks different than men's fasting, because remember, the male physiology is different than the female physiology. We cannot eat the same way that they do. We cannot diet the same way that they do. We cannot drink the same way that we do. We cannot work the same way that we do. Now, women are very powerful. We are very strong. We are very strong-willed, and we can do anything. But should we be doing anything? We should be living in alignment with our female physiology. So trying to diet like a man, trying to fast like a man, is how you fall out of alignment with your female physiology. And that's where the imbalance comes from. That's where the symptoms come from. Back to fertility awareness-based methods. So with the Justice method, I'm trained in the Justice method of fertility awareness. That's what I teach. And as a trained in the Justice method of fertility awareness, I'm also trained to be a holistic reproductive health practitioner. So the Justice method is based in like primarily naturopathic and functional medicine approaches to bringing your body back into balance, restoring your hormones. And it also empowers you on making informed and autonomous decisions about your sexual and reproductive health. And just trained in holistic approach to addressing your reproductive health concerns. So a holistic approach is a healing approach that considers the whole person. Like I said, I'm not just recommending supplements, because supplements are not going to reverse the imbalance, the misalignment. We have to look at the whole person, mainly how you eat, how you live, nervous system regulation. Those three components of life I cover that in 3 different weeks or sessions during the flow state program, because there is a paradigm shift that has to happen around those 3 things. Again, we live in a society that is designed for men. We have been eating like men. We have been working like men. We have been living like men. We have been under, and then our bodies are stressed out, dysregulated because of that. And so there's a total overhaul that has to happen. So I teach there's 6 modules in the flow state program over that 12 weeks. And all 3 of those have their own weeks that I teach on, because the change has to happen for the change in your menstrual cycles to happen. So a holistic approach is considering the whole person and emphasizing the interconnectedness of the physical, the mental, the emotional, the social, even the spiritual aspects of our health. I tell people that I have a metaphysical approach to menstrual health, because it goes beyond just the physical. It goes beyond your symptoms. Again, we got to get into how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you are living. all of that has to be addressed. Your body can heal on its own, but you have to get out of its way. You have to understand it first. Then you have to respect it. You have to pay attention to it. One of my favorite quotes is, attention is the most basic form of love. Attention. Like, a child doesn't want anything but attention. You can throw gifts at them, and yeah, that'll make them happy for a minute, but really, like, they just want to be listened to, looked at, held. They want to show you, like, look what I can do. I used to love watching Mad TV. And that guy used to act like a little baby. And his thing was, look what I can do. Like, he just wanted attention. Kids just want attention. That is the most basic form of love, is attention. Your body needs attention more than it needs anything else. You have to learn how to pay attention to your body. A lot of women are living in survival mode because, again, the society that we live in is rough on us. And there are so many distractions. And we feel like we don't got time for that shit. Sorry. I'm not sorry. That's how I talk. But I don't got time to try to pay, like, I don't got time for these painful periods. Like, let me just take this birth control to silence it. Let me just get a hysterectomy to just get rid of it. And not understanding what we are doing to our, or how we are affecting our long-term health. Like, when I tell people how long I want to live, I've been claiming 106. I would love to live longer than that, but I claim 106. And people be like, I don't want to be that old. Like, I'm not about to be all decrepit. And I don't think I'm going to be decrepit. Like, I take care of myself so well every day. Like, I'm going to still be mobile. I'm still be in my right mind. I may be then slowed down and I'm chilling. I'm probably not going to be driving no more. But, like, I'm going to be here for my great grandkids. Hopefully my great grandkids. Like, I'm going to be here. I want to be here. But when women are dying in their 40s, dying in their 50s, dying in their 60s, that's because of how they have been living out of alignment their whole entire lives. Working overtime is unsustainable. Continuously working overtime is unsustainable. You are going to burn out, literally burn out from the inside. So learning how to take care of your body and work with it is what is going to allow you to have long-term health. So I love this concept in my masterclass. The link is in my bio. Like, you need to join on the 13th at 12 o'clock because I go deep into showing the 4 phases and then the 6 signs that you need to track to like know if your cycle is, well, a lot of people know that their cycle is not healthy, but understanding where the imbalance is, how to discover that root cause of the imbalance, because everybody's imbalance is different. But I love this concept that I introduced on how the estrogen and progesterone, when you allow it to cycle through your body every single month, there are overall health benefits, but it's like you are, you have this retirement account, and the estrogen and progesterone cycling through your body is like depositing into your retirement account. So women naturally lose their fertility around the age of 50. And I hate to say that because it's not supposed to be that early. Like, you're supposed to be getting into your 60s and 70s before menopause. But that's a perfect, healthy person. Like, okay. And so it's like you are depositing into this retirement account for when your body does down regulate and lose its reproductive capacity. You got that retirement account, right? To live off of for the rest of your decades after menopause to keep you healthy. And that's what allowing your natural cycles, like the benefits of allowing your natural cycles to flow, does for you. It's long-term health benefits also. Even if you are, that's why I keep trying to get women to understand, even if you are not trying to have any more children, your fertility is still important for those long-term benefits, for those retirement years. You need those benefits from that estrogen and progesterone to keep you healthy. Heart health, bone health, thyroid health, brain health is going to be important through those years. Because again, remember, when your fertility is compromised, if you are infertile, that's an indication that your overall health is compromised, right? And but that doesn't have to be the case for just because you reach menopause. Like, yes, that's when disease risk increase. That's when, yes, degenerative disease risk increase. But if you had that retirement account getting filled up through those 40 years of those 40 reproductive years, say you started your cycles in your teens, your teenage years, and you cycle all the way through to your 50s, hopefully 60s. Honestly, hopefully your 60s. You have 40 to 50 years of that flow of estrogen and progesterone being deposited into your retirement account. So when you do hit menopause, you're able to live off those benefits of estrogen and progesterone to keep you healthy. Women die from high blood, or do you die from high blood pressure? Heart attacks, strokes, like, because they didn't have, women who have rocky transitions into menopause is usually because they had imbalanced hormones throughout those reproductive years, or their cycles were completely shut off from hormonal birth control, or they just had an imbalance of hormones. Like, I guarantee you, women who have rocky transitions and early transitions into menopause, ask them how their cycles were, or if they even had cycles. And I bet you it's going to be they had horrible cycles, menstrual cycles, or they were on birth control for long periods of time. So fertility awareness is just being able to, I was talking about like attention. That's where I got off into a tangent when I was talking about attention being the most basic form of love. Like when you learn, like just paying attention to your body and learning your body's language and tracking those daily signs down on the menstrual cycle chart and being able to in real time see how your menstrual cycles look. And and when you see how they're in or out of alignment, is the motivation for you to make those daily changes or habits, like to avoid or eliminate or reduce whatever may be causing your cycles to be out of balance. So I call my menstrual cycle charts my accountability partner. When I notice that my luteal phase is too short, it's usually like luteal phase being too short is the cause of miscarriage, it's the cause of infertility, it's also the cause of fibroids because there is not enough progesterone. I've had that issue throughout cycle charting. I've always noticed that my luteal phase was too short. I'm not way off, but I was under what's normal. So our luteal phase right after ovulation all the way until the next period should be 2 weeks, 14 days. I was like, so it should be between 12 and 14 days. I was always like 10, 11 days. Some of my cycles I got down to 9 days. And if I had conceived during that cycle, I probably would have had miscarriage on those 9-day luteal phases, because that progesterone is the hormone that is responsible for maintaining a pregnancy. And when it is not high enough, when that luteal phase is not long enough, that's where, like, some women do conceive and they're having miscarriages without even knowing it. They just think it's a period, because the progesterone was not high enough to maintain that pregnancy. The uterine lining was not built up enough for the fertilized egg to even be implanted, right? But if you don't know that your luteal phase is short, how will you even, like, you not understanding, why am I not getting pregnant? What is happening? You have to understand what these phases look like to understand, like, what is unexplained infertility? Nobody has an answer. Your body has an answer. You just have to learn her language. You have to learn her language. You have to understand what a healthy menstrual cycle looks like. And then you have to understand what your menstrual cycle looks like. Everybody know what their menstrual cycle phase feels like. But what does your whole menstrual cycle look like? How is every phase unfolding? How far off are you from the normal healthy parameters? That is what you need to understand. That is what Fertility Awareness Method, cycle tracking, those biomarkers tell you. So that's the reason that you want to use a standardized system like Fertility Awareness. I use the Justice method of fertility awareness. The Justice method tracks 3 biomarkers: cervical mucus, basal body temperature, and cervical position and texture. You can use the Justice method with cervical mucus only, but that is only going to show you your fertile phase. You're not going to get insight into your thyroid health if you're not tracking basal body temperature. You can identify ovulation with cervical mucus only, but basal body temperature allows you to identify the exact day that ovulation happened. When you're able to identify the exact day that ovulation happened, from ovulation to the day before your next period is your luteal phase. So then you're able to accurately and confidently identify how long that phase is, which is going to give you insight into your hormonal levels. And so that's why it's important to track your basal body temperature also, again, to understand your thyroid health and to understand your hormonal levels. So, and then cervical position and texture is just like it's a third biomarker that's optional also. But that's just another like cross check to identifying your fertile phase, because the cervix changes in position and texture during the menstrual cycle. In the fertile phase, the cervix rises up. It's higher up in the vagina. It gets softer. The opening of the cervix opens up more during the fertile phase, because again, your body is preparing to get pregnant. It's making it easy. Like, come on, sperm. It's giving you more space in your vagina for a penis to fit in. The cervix is opening up so that sperm can enter through. And it's softer. It's more ripe. Like fruit get softer when it's ripe, right? Like, our bodies are divinely designed, and our bodies speak to us through these signs. And if we just knew what to look for, how to pay attention to it, how to understand it, we would not I was going to say we would not be sick, but we would have a better chance of taking or proactive measures of self-care, because we will understand what our bodies are telling us, instead of reactive self-care when, oh, something is wrong, now I have to react. Usually when you go see a doctor, it's through some medication or surgery, because that's all they got. They can't bill for holistic health approaches. Insurance is not going to pay for holistic health approaches. So they're going to give you medication or they're going to give you surgery. That's it. They're not going to. One woman, I was having a chat with her in the DM. She was experiencing infertility, and she was telling me her history of having a myomectomy. She got her fibroids removed. Hey, Paige. Yes, our bodies are designed by God. She had her fibroids removed. And I think it was like maybe a year after her myomectomy, her doctors cleared her to try for pregnancy. And that's been a couple of years now, and she hasn't gotten pregnant. And she doesn't understand why. And so now she's going through IVF treatments. And she's also like close to 45. And usually the medical system is going to tell you, after 45, you probably don't have enough eggs or viable eggs, and higher risk of like high risk pregnancies, which is not true if you're a healthy woman. Like, again, you should be getting close to your 60s before menopause happens. There are women having babies in their 50s and 60s. But you know, they put us on this, oh, you're 45, you're too old. But I asked her, I said, after your myomectomy and before they cleared you to try for pregnancy, did they first help you identify if you're even ovulating? And did they help you identify how long your luteal phases are or your progesterone levels before they cleared you to try for pregnancy? She said they didn't do any of that. They just said, oh, it's been a year now, you can try. But like, first of all, are you even ovulating? Are your progesterone levels high enough to maintain a pregnancy? Because even if you go through IVF and the egg gets fertilized and they have an embryo to implant, that embryo is not going to live if your progesterone levels are not high enough. Progestation. Well, pregnancy is called gestation, right? The progesterone hormone is responsible for maintaining the pregnancy for 40 weeks. If you don't have enough progesterone, that embryo is going to die. Are they checking your progesterone levels? No, they didn't do any of that. And she doesn't have the emotional capacity to keep trying without the IVF because she keeps getting disappointed. I have the money to go through these IVF treatments, so I'm just going to do that. Well, guess what? A lot of people lose a lot of money on IVF treatments because doctors are not considering the root cause. They are not addressing hormonal imbalances because there is no medication and there is no surgery that is going to restore hormone balance. They don't get paid for holistic approaches. They get paid only through medication or surgery. So they're not going to consider anything else. And guess what? They're going to take your money. If you got it to spend and you're willing to spend it, they're going to take it. Until it's evident that they can't do anything more for you. Then they're going to say, oh, we can't do anything more for you. It is imperative to understand your body for whatever you want, whether it's to avoid pregnancy or achieve pregnancy. You first have to understand your body. You have to understand how your menstrual cycles are unfolding if you want long-term health. So, talking about just trying to teach like women like what the Fertility Awareness Method. In my masterclass that I'm having on Thursday, I'm going to be showing you like a sample chart of what it looks like, because again, women they don't understand, or they can't even fathom like, what are you talking about cycle tracking? Because again, women don't understand what a menstrual cycle looks like, a healthy one. And so I didn't do it in the last masterclass, but I realized like I was teaching women like the 4 phases and the signs that you need to track to understand your hormonal health. But I realized too that if you don't have a clear view of what a menstrual cycle chart looks like, then it's still kind of like hard to understand. So in this one, I'm adding like charts on there to show you like what it would look like if you were tracking your signs daily and recording them on a chart. And so you can see the 4 phases, you can see those signs, you can see like the healthy parameters, what's normal, what's healthy. So and I was talking about like the Justice method of fertility awareness. Y'all, I've been on here for almost 2 hours. I'm about to get off soon. But I'm like in a zone right now because I'm really passionate about this, because again, like I said, the white women, they know and they interested and they're all for it and they're practicing it. But black women are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not interested in that, and I don't got time for that because I got to deal with all this other stuff. And I'm also distracted by all these other things. But black women are the ones that are suffering the most. And we need this information. And I'm not going to be quiet about it anymore. I just lost a cousin last year. She didn't reach 39 years old. We're the same age. She was 4 months older than me. May will be the anniversary of her death. She just died from cervical cancer at 38 years old. And she always was infertile. She got pregnant one time in her early 20s and she lost that baby due to cervical issues. Her cervix wouldn't stay closed. And she lost that baby. So about 20 years later, she died from cervical cancer. And she was angry because she had been going through to her appointments, annual appointments. Why didn't they catch this? Why at stage 4 are they telling me that I have cervical cancer and there's nothing they can do for me when I've been going to my annual appointments? And when I posted about it, there was a doctor who actually was my doctor when I came off of hormonal birth control. Before I had got pregnant, she was going to put my IUD in, but I had got pregnant. And she commented on the post in Doctor Talk, regular checkups can prevent or decrease the risk of cervical cancer, like some shit like that, like they be talking about. Checkups don't prevent or decrease the risk. What decreased the risk is learning how to live in alignment with your female physiology and being in balance, hormone balance. That decreased the risk. And she went to her checkups and they didn't catch it. And she died at 38 years old. And I've been in this work for 10 years now, but I've been real slow about it because women are not interested. It's like kind of hard to keep going because I'm like, ain't nobody listening. Like nobody's understanding. And then just trying to figure out like my messaging with it. Like I've been real slow about it. But when she died, like, man, that was one of the deaths that hit me the hardest. My grandma and my cousin. Like, I never really got hit hard by anyone's death but my grandmother and my cousin. Like, I'm getting teary-eyed right now because she had these issues for 20 years. When I think back on that pregnancy that she lost, she'd been dealing with this and didn't even know for 20 years. But because she didn't understand her body, and because doctors are only going to give you medication or surgery, there's not going to be any answers besides, like, you're not going to have any more answers. And that's how women are dying early, because they don't understand their bodies, and our health is in control, or we're putting our health in the hands of strangers that we see once a year. Or some women go to the doctor more than that. But like, doctors should not know more about your bodies than you. They don't know more about your bodies than you do. And you don't have to be a doctor to understand your body. You don't have to be a doctor to understand your body. It's not that. It's complex, but it's not impossible to understand. So, with the Justice method of fertility awareness, is designed to have an instructor teach you. Again, especially if you're avoiding pregnancy, you really want somebody to guide you through the method. Like I said, I learned through a book, but I still didn't really understand until I went through my certification program and learned a standardized method. In that program, I had to have an instructor teach me the method, and I went through a 12-week process with her, just like my flow state program. But my flow state program goes in deeper, more into like, well, the whole entire certification program, I had to learn holistic reproductive health and how to guide a woman through a holistic approach to reproductive health and sexual health. But I had to learn the fertility awareness method with her over 12 weeks, and getting that standardized method, like teaching me those notations, teaching me those signs more in depth, I was able to use the method more effectively. And so I had always been using it to avoid pregnancy naturally. But lately, like the past couple years, like I said, my luteal phases were kind of short. Like, they were shorter than they were supposed to be. And my menstrual, like, I'm like, okay, if I was attempting to get pregnant, like, this would be too short. I would probably have high risk pregnancy if the pregnancy would survive at all. So I got to get my luteal phases longer. Knowing how to manage my health in a holistic manner through diet, through lifestyle, through body nervous system regulation, that mind-body connection, like, I took it to another level. I got really serious with my daily proactive measures of self-care. And now I have luteal phases that are 12 and 13 days. And so I'm able to see how, like, my lifestyle changes changed my menstrual cycles. And when I had longer luteal phases, I know that my progesterone levels are at optimal levels. Also, like, my basal body temperature ranges used to be too low. I know that I was experiencing some hypothyroidism. Very minimum, like not to the point where I needed medication, but that's another advantage of using the fertility awareness method in cycle tracking. I'm able to catch those imbalances before they get to the point of needing medication, right? So now the way that I changed in my daily lifestyle and self-care practices, my temperatures are within their normal ranges. So I know that my metabolism, my thyroid health is optimal right now. And I can tell that in the way that I've been maintaining my weight, because hypothyroidism usually comes with weight gain that you can't get off, right? When you have hyperthyroidism, that's when, you can't keep your weight on. And so all of that just have trickle down effects to every area of your health. So that's the benefit of having an instructor, a trainer, personalized guidance in learning fertility awareness. So you get to learn that standardized system and method of charting so that you can accurately interpret your charts and understand what your menstrual cycle is revealing. You're able to speak the same language as your body, and you're able to speak the same language as your instructor. So like learning those notations of the signs, because those signs have different notations that you record on your chart to know what it's saying. And then again, menstrual cycle awareness, fertility awareness, cycle charting becomes that health tool to get you to see like your overall health. So you're learning like the basics of the menstrual cycle, basics of menstrual cycle charting, on the normal parameters of your menstrual cycle, and then what the elements of atypical or abnormal menstrual cycles look like. And so then you're able to identify those because the menstrual cycle is very sensitive to systemic disorders like hormonal or endocrine disorders like the hypothyroidism, Graves' disease, insulin resistance is usually associated with PCOS, endometriosis usually associated with inflammation. Inflammation can come from diet, lifestyle, stress, nervous system dysregulation. So you're able to like that menstrual cycle chart will become your motivation for changing. Like it used to be so hard for me to control my eating habits until I'm able to look on my menstrual cycle chart and see how my eating habits are affecting my menstrual cycle. It's like, no, I need this to look like this. And it just became that accountability partner. Like I say, like, I want my menstrual cycle to look like this. I'm going to make the changes that I need to make. And then additionally, like environmental factors, dietary, physical, psychological stress affects the menstrual cycle also. And you're able to see that on your menstrual cycle charts. Gut health, when we go into menstrual cycle awareness, is deeper than fertility awareness. So I track things like my bowel movements, how many times, the quality of it. Like I love to tell people about the Bristol stool chart. There are 7 types of stools, and number 4 is the healthiest type of stool, that soft like banana shaped type of stool. And so from 1 to 7, like you want to be in that 4 range. And so many people don't even look at their bowel movements. Like my husband, when he used the bathroom, like he flush it while he's still going, like. And so many women do that because they don't want the smell, right? But like you should be looking at your bowel movements, because again, your body speaks to you through signs. You can assess your gut health by looking at your bowel movements. Like if you got a lot of gas, if you have diarrhea, like if you have constipation, either end of the spectrum is a sign or indication of your gut health. So when I go through my flow state program, like we learn about that gut health. Like gut health has it is actually the number 1 influence on your menstrual cycle, because the liver metabolizes the hormones, but whatever the liver metabolizes, our gut and intestines have to eliminate the waste, right? If you're not eliminating the waste properly or enough, those hormones are staying in the body. They're being reabsorbed by the body. So then you have estrogen dominance affecting your menstrual cycles, PMS, painful, heavy periods, right? That's how gut health directly affects the menstrual cycle. If you have leaky gut, you're not absorbing nutrients properly, so you're malnourished. That's going to affect your menstrual cycle. Because if you're malnourished, you're not able to support your hormones. So now you have hormonal deficiencies. Again, that's where infertility comes from. That's where fibroids come from. Okay, so we learn about all of that in the Flow State program. And then also, like, the menstrual cycle has been coined the 5th vital sign. It's a vital sign of your overall health. So, like, whenever you go into your healthcare doctor's offices, they always check 4 vital signs. They'll check your blood pressure, they'll check your heart rate, they'll check your breathing rate, that respiratory rate. They're checking your temperature. They check your weight. That's another one. That's not in the vital signs, but it is a vital sign, because if you're overweight, right? Like, it could cause issues. But like, they're checking your blood pressure, because if your blood pressure is too high, right? Like, that's an indication of how your body is functioning. They're checking your temperature. If your temperature is too high, that means you have some kind of infection somewhere, right? If your respiratory rate is outside of the normal parameters, I don't know what that's an indication of, but it's an indication of something. That's why they're checking it every single time. Your menstrual cycle, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists term the menstrual cycle the 5th vital sign. They recommend that women should be tracking their cycles from the very first cycle, menarche, all the way through to and through menopause, as a 5th vital sign, an indication of your overall health. If the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists are recommending that women track their cycles as a health indicator or overall health indicator, why is your doctor not telling you to track your menstrual cycles? Why are they just giving you medication to silence the symptoms? Why are they just recommending cutting, burning, or removing your organs to deal with the problem? Why are they not telling you to track your menstrual cycle so we can get to the root cause of them? Because they can get paid for that. That's why. So your menstrual cycle is a 5th vital sign. It is a tool that can be used, a diagnostic tool that can be used to measure how your body is functioning. So you are tracking your menstrual cycle, all the things that happen from the first period all the way until the day before your next period. So you're tracking what's happening during your period, what's happening as you approach ovulation, what's happening with your cervical mucus patterns, what's happening with the duration of time it takes you to reach ovulation, and what's happening between ovulation all the way up into your next period. So the length of that time, again, remember, it has to be long enough, and the quality of that phase. Like, if you're experiencing PMS, like, that is not a normal part of a menstrual cycle. It's common, but it's not normal. And so you should not be experiencing PMS at all. There are some signs that will be indicative of your period approaching, but they should not disrupt your life. All right. So I'm having a master class on Thursday, March 13th at 12 p.m. There is a link to register for that master class, because I'm teaching you how the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. I'm teaching you the 6 signs that you should be tracking in your menstrual cycle to discover any root causes of your symptoms that you may be experiencing, and just how to pay attention to the cycle overall, why fertility is important, why menstrual cycle awareness is important, why it matters. I go in depth. It's very informative, and it's free also, because I just want women to understand their bodies, because that's what we need at the basic level of education. This should be in high school. Our mothers should be able to teach us this, and if our mothers can't teach us this, they should be in high school teaching us this. I say preteens. That's why I have my period confidence workshop for preteens. I have one coming up next weekend on March 16th. I got 2 spots left in that period confidence workshop. If you're in the Detroit area, if you have a daughter or any little girl in your life between the ages of 8 and 13, you are welcome to reserve your spot in the period confidence workshop. I say it's for parents and preteens, but you don't have to be a parent. Like, I know people who like, oh, I want to bring my granddaughter, or I want to bring my niece. Like, bring them, because we need this information like before our cycles start and at the beginning of our cycles, to be prepared, to be confident, reducing the stigma around our periods, the embarrassment, the shame, the hate, like getting rid of all of that. Like, our periods, our menstrual cycles are our power. It is how our bodies speak to us. And that language, that self-respect, that self-love needs to be normalized. And so I have the period confidence workshops for that. We need to be learning about our cycles in our preteen years. I had a program going on at a Detroit high school where I taught the girls about menstrual health over the course of 6 weeks. This kind of information should be in high school. My daughter is gonna know, well, my daughter already knows, like, she's my assistant at the period confidence workshop. So like, she's gonna be, when her period comes, like, she's gonna know how to take care of herself. She's gonna be confident. She's gonna have a positive perspectives around her periods, because I share that with her. She been seeing me, like today in the bathroom with me. She always see me using my menstrual cup, looking at my menstruation, my blood, to see if it's healthy. She knows. Today I'm approaching ovulation, and I had some cervical mucus appear. In the Fertility Awareness Method, I teach you like how to examine the quality of your cervical mucus, because again, cervical mucus is an indication of your hormone levels. She saw me checking out my cervical mucus to make sure, like, what kind is it? And like, it's not going to be nasty to her. When I was 19 years old, I moved out and I was living on my own, and I was going to this like clinic in the neighborhood. And I remember every single month I was going into that clinic to tell my doctor, I think I have a yeast infection, because I had mucus in my panties every month. Every single month I was going to get medication for yeast, and they weren't even testing me. Like, I just was telling them what it looked like, and she just would just give me a prescription, because that's what they do. They hand out medication. And when I learned about it in that book, when I learned about cervical mucus, that was another part of like the anger. Like, what? Why did I not learn about cervical mucus being a normal, natural aspect of the menstrual cycle? I thought something was wrong with me. And so my daughter is going to be like, she's going to know. So that's why I do the period confidence workshop for preteens. And then in the flow state program, like, this skill that you're learning, this fertility awareness method, you learn it over the course of 12 weeks. And I do 12 weeks because over 12 weeks, you should be able to get through 3 cycles. And by the time you get through 3 cycles, you're able to identify patterns that are unique for you. And then it just takes that time. With any practice, there's a learning curve associated with it. It takes time for you to become confident in practicing it accurately. So, that's why I do 12 weeks. So by the end of the 12 weeks, you are proficient at using the fertility awareness method. And then over time, as you continue to practice it, it is going to be second nature for you. And this is actually a life skill, because you can use this practice through every stage of your life. You can use it throughout your entire reproductive years, whether you've never had a child before, postpartum phase, perimenopause phase, all the way through to menopause to understand your body. Because also every stage of your reproductive years has its own normal parameters too. So in the Period Confidence Workshop, I teach them the normal parameters for teens. It is expected and normal for them to have irregular cycles because their bodies are learning how to cycle. It's a new process or function that the body is maturing. And so many women go put their teenagers on hormonal birth control to shut their cycles down completely when this is a maturation process. And when you don't allow your reproductive cycle and systems to mature, when it's time for her to come off of hormonal birth control because she's reached the age where she's ready to have children, she's having infertility issues because her reproductive system was never allowed to mature because her cycles were irregular. It is actually, there are normal parameters for the teenage years of irregular cycles. So why is your doctor giving your daughter hormonal birth control to regulate her cycle? Because that's what she gets paid for. She gets paid to medicate, to prescribe. And so in every stage and phase of your life, you'll be able to use this practice to understand your body. All the way from the first period all the way through menopause, you're going to have this practice. And if you do have a daughter or any young person in your life, knowing how to use this practice, you're able to pass it down to her. You're able to teach her how to use it, or normalizing it, at least teaching her to understand her body. And then the younger that we start getting this information, over time, we're breaking those generational curses or courses of action. I call them generational courses of action, but we're changing the cycles, right? We're changing our menstrual cycles and we're changing the cycles of life. Those generational curses are being broken because at a younger age, our girls will be able to understand their bodies and how to work with their bodies and not against their bodies. So get into this free masterclass. I'm sharing this information on how to pay attention to your cycles. But also, like, if you want to go deeper, I have one-on-one sessions that you can book with me where it's called a restoration quotient. So like you spend 90 minutes with me and we go deep into like your cycle health. It's a cycle health discovery intensive. And you get personalized guidance. I don't teach you the Justice method during that 90 minutes because it takes a little longer, like with the Flow State program. And that first day intensive is 3 hours because it takes a few hours to get you prepared on knowing how to identify those biomarkers and how to track, record, and track your cycles. But in the 90-minute session, I teach you how to pay attention to your cycles and how to chart. And you get like a more basic method of cycle charting, but then you get personalized recommendation on how to move forward with restoring balance to your hormones. That 90 minutes is more so about cycle health than fertility awareness, avoiding pregnancy. I don't teach you how to avoid pregnancy in 90 minutes. I can't teach you how to avoid pregnancy in 90 minutes. I can't teach you how to achieve pregnancy in 90 minutes, but I can teach you and send you on your way to how to bring your cycle health back, restore cycle health. And then you get also like, you get a lot of resources, like a resource pack of menstrual cycle health, but also you get 30 days of ongoing support after you have that 90-minute cycle health discovery intensive. And then again, the Flow State program is a 12-week, I call it a 12-week journey into fertility mastery and hormonal balance. So that's that first day intensive is like 3 days, and then you get 6 sessions after over the course of 12 weeks. And it's a group program also. It's a small group program. So I only allow 6 women in at a time. And that program is starting on April 5th. I have payment plans available. I accept Afterpay also. All of this you can find on in my links on every platform. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. My website is tianajames.com. You can find all of the information on all of my offers in those links. And what I was going to say, I have free resources. I have a free ebook to introduce you to the basics of cycle charting. And yeah, so first thing though is just join me next Thursday at 12 o'clock. Register with the links in my bio. And thank you for watching. Again, if you're watching this on replay, put that in the comments so I can know who watched. If you got questions, put it in the comments because I will answer your questions if I see them. And thank you. I'll be back on. I'm going to be doing lives more often. I'm really getting this information on here, but I've been on here for about 2 hours now. This will be up. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel. So if you're not following me on YouTube, find me on YouTube, Tiana James, starring.tiana, or just go to my website or the links because I have that. Like everything is easy to find with the links in my bio. All right. So again, happy International Women's Day. It's Saturday evening. I'm off work now, and enjoy your Saturday and your weekend.